Have you ever wondered what happens when Ferrari takes a car that already felt classy, calm, and confident and decides to loosen its tie just a little? Does making it faster risk losing the elegance that made it special in the first place? And let's be real here, can a so-called entry-level Ferrari at nearly 270 grand actually feel worth it? If those questions sound like the exact ones bouncing around in your head, you clicked the right video, because today we're talking about the Ferrari Amalfi and whether it truly captures the magic that made the Roma such a standout. Now, if you remember when the Roma first showed up a few years back, it felt like Ferrari took a deep breath. Before that, designs were loud, aggressive, almost shouting at you. The Roma didn't shout. It spoke calmly, confidently, like a well-dressed gentleman walking into a nice restaurant without needing to announce himself. It was a Ferrari in a tuxedo, and honestly, a lot of us appreciated that. Especially those of us who have lived long enough to know that real confidence doesn't need neon lights and spoilers the size of picnic tables. Fast forward a few years, and Ferrari comes along with the Amalfi, officially replacing the Roma. The folks in Maranello want you to think of it as the same guy, just later in the evening. Jacket off, tie loosened, shoes kicked aside, standing near the water with a drink in hand. Sounds nice, right? But here's the real question. Is it still the same guy underneath, or did Ferrari turn him into someone else entirely? Visually, Ferrari's design language has gotten bolder across the board, and you can see that influence here. The Amalfi doesn't stand apart from the rest of the lineup the way the Roma did. Instead, it shares some DNA with the Purisang, the 12-cylindry, and the newer performance monsters. That said, it's more of a cousin than a twin. Ferrari says they started with a clean, pure shape and tried not to mess it up too much, which honestly sounds like something a designer says after losing a few arguments in meetings. Headlights, door handles, vents, all those things were considered necessary evils, so Ferrari cleverly hid as much as possible inside dark grooves across the body. And you know what? It works. One of the nicest upgrades is how the sensors and radar are hidden better than before. It cleans up the look in a way that makes you appreciate restraint, something that tends to come with age, both in people and in car design. Aerodynamically, the Amalfi takes things up a notch. The active rear wing now has 3 positions instead of 2, and when it's fully deployed, it generates a meaningful amount of downforce at speed. Not race car crazy, but impressive for a grand touring coupe that still wants to take you across a country in comfort. And yes, it even acts like an air brake when pushed hard. That's the kind of thing that doesn't matter until you need it, and when you do, you're very glad it's there. Inside the cabin, this is where Ferrari really listened, and honestly, credit where credit's due. One of the biggest complaints about the Roma was the touch-sensitive controls. Let's be honest, nobody wants to start a Ferrari by tapping a virtual button like they're opening a weather app. Ferrari heard that loud and clear. Physical buttons are back, including a proper red start button on the steering wheel. That alone is enough to make longtime Ferrari fans smile. Sometimes progress means admitting you went a little too far. The interior layout is cleaner and calmer. The main screen is now wider instead of tall, lowered slightly so it doesn't dominate your vision. The cabin feels more intentional, more mature. There's still a screen for the passenger, which, let's be honest, feels a bit unnecessary when everyone already has a phone glued to their hand, but it's there if they want it. The separation between driver and passenger is done with a beautifully machined piece of aluminum, and it adds a subtle sense of occasion without screaming about it. Under the hood, the Amalfi stays true to Ferrari's formula with a twin-turbo V8, but it's been sharpened just enough to notice. Power is up slightly, the red line is higher, and the engine feels more eager, more alive. It revs more freely, responds quicker, and just feels happier doing its thing. Ferrari didn't reinvent the wheel here. They refined it, which is often the smarter move. On paper, the performance gains might not look dramatic, but behind the wheel, they matter. The car accelerates a bit quicker, feels more urgent, and yet still maintains that grand touring composure. Noise regulations have forced Ferrari to quiet things down from the outside, but inside the cabin, the engine still sounds like it should. You hear it, you feel it, and it reminds you why internal combustion still has a soul. The technology underneath has also taken a step forward. Brake-by-wire, updated stability systems, revised dampers, and new tires all work together to make the Amalfi feel more capable and more confident. And here's something interesting. In wet conditions, the car can still get a little spicy if you're not careful. That's not a flaw so much as a reminder that this is still a rear-wheel drive Ferrari. It's not here to babysit you completely, and honestly, that's part of the charm. The safety systems are excellent, but they don't erase the personality. Once the roads dry out, the Amalfi really comes into its own. It feels like the Roma, but turned up just a notch or two. The transmission behaves better in relaxed driving, holding gears more naturally instead of rushing to the highest one possible. And when you start dialing up the driving modes, everything tightens up beautifully. The gearbox is crisp, quick, and reminds you that Ferrari knows a thing or two about making a dual-clutch transmission feel right. The balance is excellent. The engine sits behind the front wheels, giving the car a slightly rear-biased feel that makes it both stable and playful. It's comfortable enough for long drives, and yes, the massaging seats are there to prove it. You could genuinely spend hours behind the wheel without feeling beat up, which says a lot about where Ferrari sees this car fitting into someone's life. Now let me ask you something. If you had the means, would you rather have a car that's brutally fast all the time, or one that knows when to relax and when to have fun? That's really the heart of what the Amalfi is about. It can cruise calmly, then flip a switch and remind you it's still very much a Ferrari. As for competition, it's a tricky space. The obvious rivals from Germany rely on all-wheel drive, which gives them incredible traction, but also changes the way they feel. The Amalfi sticks to rear-wheel drive, and that gives it a certain freedom, a lightness in how it changes direction. There are a couple of British options that come close, but none line up perfectly in terms of size, layout, and intent. In many ways, the Amalfi stands on its own, helped along, of course, by that prancing horse badge. Is it perfect? No car is. Some might still prefer the Roma's cleaner, more timeless look. Others will love the Amalfi's added edge. But there's no denying Ferrari made meaningful improvements where it mattered most. The interior is better, the driving experience is sharper, and the car still understands that not every drive needs to feel like a qualifying lap. And let's lighten the mood for a second. Calling this an entry-level Ferrari at nearly $270,000 is like calling a beachfront villa a starter home. It's all relative, right? But if you're in that world, this car makes a strong case for itself. So what do you think? Do you prefer the elegance of the Roma, or does the Amalfi's extra attitude win you over? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I genuinely enjoy reading them, and it's always interesting to see how different generations of car lovers view these changes. If you're enjoying this conversation, go ahead and tap that like button. It really helps the channel. And if you haven't subscribed yet, consider doing that too. We've got plenty more deep, honest car discussions coming your way. Share this video with a friend who still believes Ferraris peaked in the 90s. You might just start a good debate. At the end of the day, the Ferrari Amalfi feels like a natural evolution. It respects what came before while acknowledging that times change, tastes evolve, and even legends need to adapt. Sometimes loosening the tie isn't about losing class. It's about being comfortable enough to enjoy yourself. And honestly, that might be the most Ferrari thing of all.